I just wanted to jump back and just talk about your start because I think it's so interesting. Like you didn't go to college, you didn't take a traditional path. You took a course, as so many people are like, oh, don't take a course. Like you have so many contrarian opinions that I think there's a lot of value to kind of peel out of there.
I love this. Okay, so I'll start. Okay,
Yeah.
Aaron Cordova's right, founder of Zulai Kitchen, Samurai Cellar. We have other companies as well. And here's the thing: if you realize, okay, that 1% of people in the United States are making more than 380,000. Okay, if you don't have a contrarian opinion, you will be. If you have no contrarian opinion, you just go with what's usual, you're gonna be broke. Because I was listening today to Grant Cardone, his podcast or his ebook. I think he's putting his ebook. The guy's brilliant. He's putting his ebook as a podcast. So even though I've listened to the book, I'm like, check out your newest podcast, and it's just a chapter from your book. I'm like, this is brilliant. Anyway, so in the book, he's saying like 54% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. 34% of Americans do not have $400 available in emergency.
Wow.
What? I mean, that's crazy. Like, that is nuts. We're in a place where if you go with the flow, if you go with what you're supposed to do, you're going to end up like that. Statistically speaking, you will be living paycheck to paycheck, and you're living paycheck to paycheck now. It's because you don't have a contrarian opinion, because the group is basically, unfortunately, broke. You know, we're not in the 1930s, 1940s. There was a time period where the majority of people had a similar lifestyle, right? This is from a book, Psychology of Money. I just put a YouTube video out, 45 minutes on this book. I love it. It's amazing. But he's talking about back in the day, there was a time period, right after World War II, I think it was, where most people had a similar lifestyle. The income gap was not too big. And so people came to expect, hey, I should have what the next door neighbor has. We should all have, like, he has a house, I have a house. This guy has a car, I have a car. You have a fridge, I have a fridge. And it kind of just like, people expected that, but the incomes were very similar. Why? There was a lot of factory jobs. There was a lot of work. People were working, right? And then what happens is there's a lot of promotion. This is my own thing. This is not from the book, but people promote against work. If you think that working is bad and you're being worked and you're being a slave and this stuff, that idea is coming literally from people who want to destroy America. Like the idea that work is bad is actually meant to harm you, the society, and other people to the gain of some crazy person. Like that's contrarian opinions. We're going into like this deep stuff here, but yeah, I truly believe that because in some time period, people were proud to have a job. People were proud to provide for their families. People were proud for these kinds of things. Like, how do you make a country go down and get trampled on? Well, by taking away people's pride, by taking away a willingness to like step up and be, I'm the father, or I'm a contributing citizen. JFK, don't ask what the country will, America will do for you. This country will do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. People are cheering. You say that now? Could you just imagine a politician going up? Don't ask what we're going to do for you. Ask what you could do for us. And people cheering right now, and be like, this guy's a disaster. What do you mean privileged a-hole? So like times have changed in a way that what we've been shown on TV, the TV is owned by a couple of small companies that own the public opinion, or they think, and they tell you what you should believe, who you should hate, where you should feel offended. And it's all directed to bringing you down and not want to work and basically get drugged up, break the law, go to prison, and then people make money. So that was off on a tangent, but I'll tell you, if you follow what you're listening to on TV, you're following to what you're going to learn at school, only that, and you stick to this, and like, oh my gosh, don't buy this guy's course. He's the one who's going to make money. Learn how to make money from people. Don't learn how to make money from a college where statistically speaking, you are going to work in a field where over 50% chance, whatever degree you got, the field you're going to work on is a different field. That is the knowledge that you should do. You should go, and most likely chance you're going to be hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt and not work in the field that you studied. That's the normal opinion. Yet learning from a person who's made multi-millions of dollars on Amazon and paying for a course $3,000 is a ripoff. That's the most backwards idea. Anyway, I'm going to pause because I know I'm like going off here, but There
I
you
know,
go.
I love it, man. I love it. Preach, brother. I mean, it definitely makes a lot of sense. I look at my career and I've definitely made a huge pivot. And I'm looking at resumes every day of people that have just Bachelor of Arts in, I don't know, art history, and they're becoming Amazon brand managers. Nothing wrong with that, but you did spend 4 years and some amount of money on something that you're not utilizing.
Right.
So it's like, yeah,
It's great. See, so at some point you come to realization, hey, this degree didn't do me so well. I'm gonna follow a path now. Hey, I'm gonna go on Amazon now. My degree doesn't work for me, but that's gone. You can't get that time back. So what are you gonna do today? Don't have a degree in e-commerce, no problem. You don't have a degree in MBA, no problem. You could become a millionaire if you make a brand, get people to be interested in it, sell it. It is a fact that's happened over and over and over. And just you have to know that is a possibility. That's only a small potential of yours. You could do so much more. Could you do way more than that? Sure. But you definitely could do that. That's not too crazy.
But I think that's what I think when people try this, they believe and then they try. And then when they run up against hardships and they give up and they say, that's not achievable. That's not really achievable. I don't believe this anymore. And I think you could probably attest to this. It's really about, you got to just keep going. When it gets hard, that's when everybody else quits. And that's when you got to be the person that keeps going to capture that opportunity. Because you mentioned, right. I think, in one of your LinkedIn posts that you went through some struggles, I think like depression and just some things that held you back that you grinded through. Can you elaborate on that? Like kind of what you overcame?
Yeah. And I'll tell you, this is me at a time when I was very fortunate. I think most people are very, very fortunate, right? Fortunate in opportunities. But it's also fortunate to go through trouble because, man, I just have to go on this topic because I heard someone talking about like, yeah, this guy's so privileged. It wasn't about me, but it could have been about me. Like, you're born with this and whatever. But do you know the son of a king in England, most of the time, what you would say today, well, they're so privileged. They have so much opportunity to have everything, whatever. The chances are that person's going to be miserable, maybe kill themselves, have a terrible freaking life. Why? Because they have no problems. They have nothing to solve. Everything's done. Having everything done for you, you could call that, some people call that privilege. That could also be misery, right? They were never taught, they were told how to, certain things, and that put them in a trap. Having money is not a solution to your life. Having things solved is not a solution for you. You have to, a real education, what do I need to do with my life? What's important? Define values, right? That's why a lot of like these belief systems, and back in the day, K times, people were a lot more religious, right? There's 10 Commandments. I mean, most religions have some sort of code. And part of the decline is people drop, they're like, forget values, forget this. I'm going to go and get as much as I can, sleep with as many people as I can, and have as many cars as I can. And you've been defined that role or as a king. Anyway, I'm not getting a little bit crazy, but the path that's given to us is mostly to follow a certain mold. And that mold is under attack, man. I mean, like, we are put down. And so I had a privileged thing. I had a home. Okay. My mom worked. She's an amazing freaking mother. My mom and dad divorced the year I was born. Okay, they were separated. That's a whole story for another time, which is a great story. I'd love to talk about it, but we don't have enough time for that. But here's the thing. I never had problems with food. I never had problems with, oh my gosh, my mom is going to starve. I need to help her. You know how many amazing business owners happened because they knew they had to make money for their parents? That is actually a privilege because you have a problem that you're solving and it brings you into your potential because you're solving something. So for me, I had not very many problems. And I was on TV all day. I would get home. I have a TV. I'm privileged. Well, is that really privileged? I don't know. Getting fed all this garbage that, you are depressed. This chemical imbalance is the only thing that can help you, all this stuff. And you believe it. And you believe things. And you sit there. And if you sit on the TV for 8 hours a day, which a lot of people do. I did that when I was a teenager. Mm-hmm. And you're told you shouldn't work. You can't work. It's illegal to work until you're 16. You have no role in life. There's nothing to be proud of. Now, luckily, I'm not going too deep into it. I mean, I could talk about some of these things for hours and hours and hours. But here's the point. I had not enough problems, and that became a lot of problems, right? And I think this is a symptom of today's time, right? It's the symptom that nobody can work because you're not old enough, so you can't contribute anything. And then you're told, well, you need to shut up, you need to mind your manners, don't move, don't talk, don't do this. So we're basically told, and that wasn't me. My mom was really fantastic in terms of allowing me to do things, but so much so that I was just on the TV for like so long, and you get like you're it's called, they call it the boob tube. Do you know that?
Yeah.
The boob tube. A boob is a stupid person. That's by definition. The boob tube. Why is it called boob tube? Because you just get this stuff. Jing. It's like a monkey can watch TV for 10 hours, right? A turtle can. That's not your potential is sitting there and doing that for 10 hours a day. And so what happens is that my situation was probably worse because of some of the things that I did that were normal. It's normal to not work until you're done with college. Mm-hmm. Listen, back in the day, the time you're done with college, 25 years old, however old you are, you'd be pretty much done with your life. Alexander the Great conquered countries at like 16 years old. Yeah. You get a job right now and that being legal? It's nuts. We're not showing our kids potential of what they can and should be doing. You see these Olympic skaters at like 9. You see people who, you see so many amazing people doing amazing things at a very young age. But right in the US and in many countries, you're not even allowed to work until you're 16. Mm-hmm. Like, what the hell? So that was part of my issue, right? I think that was your question, kind of like, I just had no problems, right? And you can say, oh my gosh, people get all upset. And you're like, can you just look? Do you want to see a super rich person's kid? Now that I know a lot of rich people right now, mm-hmm. and people who have money and stuff like that, a lot of times there's family issues. Those kids are not doing so well, right? Mm-hmm. Having a ton of money doesn't always result in you having great kids. The way you're going to have great kids is finding out, maybe there's some values that a kid needs to have, regardless of how much money they have. Maybe they need to know and work and be contributive, regardless of how much money the family has, because you need to make your own life, regardless of what happened with your parents or this. And it's the opposite works too. When you're in a very poor situation, you probably have a lot of ideas of these negative concepts that you're going to hook onto, right? Hey, nobody, takes care of me, whatever things. And you're going to do a lot of blame. You're going to be around people who everybody's blaming all the time. So it's going to be up to you to somehow recognize that maybe blaming didn't result in a good situation, and being smart enough to, rise above that. So whatever situation you're in, there's going to be issues, and there's going to be good parts, and there's going to be bad parts. And if you learn, once you figure out, wow, maybe I'm unhappy because I'm literally doing absolutely nothing. There's nothing in my life. I'm standing for nothing. I'm proud of nothing. And my entire life consists of, trying to cheat on a test and get a good grade. That's not, how could a person be happy like that? So, and I got involved in a nonprofit. I started working. I started doing things. And once you start working, you start like doing things. Sometimes it's hard, and you sometimes need to be pushed, right? Sometimes you need push. Like it's like illegal to like touch somebody nowadays, right? But back in the day, you'd like, someone took something from you, you'd beat them up, like, hey, give me my horse back or something. And nobody would have a problem with that. But nowadays, someone steals your car, you can't even look at them wrong because you're going to go to jail, right? Like man, things are crazy. So this is an interesting interview because I don't always go into these things. I mostly stick to Amazon, but somehow you're, I don't know.
I'm peeling it out of you, apparently. No, I mean, this is awesome. I mean, I see two sides of this, really. There's, like you said, like that idea that people aren't valuing work like they used to, and that there's nobility and purpose in work, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. And then but then on the other hand, I feel like the hustle culture is alive and well. Like, I feel like everybody I talk to is like, yeah, I'm doing this side hustle. I'm starting this business. Like, I see a lot of that, which is really encouraging because that's, I think, how awesome things are made in America. Kind of on a bit of a tangent, but for you, we talked about this at the beginning. Hey, your new side hustle is going to be buying, I don't know if we can say this, but buying businesses and bringing on investors and scaling them up, et cetera. Do you have any other side hustles for Aaron?
Yeah, I think that, yes, there are, first just to back up a little bit. Yes, there is a lot of this kind of hustle culture, but realize a lot of times at the same sentence or half the comments are going to be like, hey, money's not everything. oh my gosh, stop working too hard. Now you're gonna do like in the same conversation. There's a push, and then there's like, hey, you should do nothing. There is always that kind of struggle, but yes, there are a lot of people right now realizing there's so much opportunity. Like this girl that's one of the first TikTok influencers, like, let me do some videos online, and becomes like a multimillionaire doing some dance videos, right?
Yeah.
Like, when was that possible? It was never possible before. We have an internet connection. That's all you need, and you could be a millionaire. Like that's it. Like, that is it, right? But hey, there's you shouldn't even try it. If you say, hey, I'm gonna be rich, be like, don't worry, don't try to be rich, be happy with what you have. Okay, cool. Okay, what how is that useful for me? You should be happy whenever. You should always try to be happy. I should be happy whether I have no money or have money or this, but generally, if you're doing something worthwhile, that's you will find happiness in that, or you should. You know what I mean? You should. Okay. Question with side hustles. I try to keep all of my businesses in the same field, right? So Amazon is the primary thing. I don't want to go and start like, a company, cleaning houses or something. Like,
dealership.
So dealership, so disrelated that there's no synergies in between things, right? You want to find things that are close to either what you know or something you're going to dive in deep, right? For example, if you love to sing and you're a musician or something, maybe you can launch some headphones or something on Amazon, right? Like, cool. Or like a musical instrument, or like if you have a guitar, maybe some picks or like strings or a tuning thing. Like, and then you kind of stay in that field and grow from that. So for me, I was the computer programmer, and I was told, hey, Amazon, and it seemed cool because Amazon is a programming algorithmic based, tech stuff. And I'm already in tech, kind of made sense. I kind of like it. Hey, let me see if I can make another $500, maybe $1,000. If I made $1,000 a month, that'll be amazing from Amazon. That was my goal. So it was a side thing, but it was at least somewhat related. At least I was always a geek, video games nerd. Like, again, back to the TV thing. I was on video games. No joke. I think I have 560 days played on World of Warcraft. Like, you could check your time you played. Yeah. Like, literally almost 2 years of my life on World of Warcraft, like playtime. Like, wow. Okay. So
everybody's going to want to know, what was your main hero? Were you like a night elf?
I was Druid. I was Druid. Okay. I was Druid and a warrior. Those were my two. No, warlock. I had a lot. I had a bunch of level 60s and 70s. And I got to the merciless gladiator, that rank that was like 0.03% of players. Like, you have them anyway. It's crazy. We don't have to get into it because it's probably, I don't know who still plays, but I don't play anymore. Anyway, so it was like, it made sense, right? I could do computer stuff. So why not stick to computers? And Amazon is computers. Like, if you know computers, why don't you stick to that? Now I'm in Amazon. Well, okay, what's big in Amazon right now? The software is big. It also comes from my background because I'm in programming. Well, let me do a software that's good for Amazon using the connections and knowledge that I have in programming. And our software, we launched Samurai Seller probably 2017, I want to say, because our company was crashing. I didn't know the profits. It was nuts. When I quit my job and I went full time, things went crazy because now I have to live off Amazon money. Before, I was only putting money into Amazon. 2 years, I was only putting money in. But then once I quit my job, I'm like, well, now I need to make money off of it. And I'll have more time. So I also hired people, and our profit was zero, and I didn't notice it. 3 months in, I'm like, why is our bank account so why is it like empty? Why can I not pay for this order? And I realized I wasn't keeping track of profit. So then we built this software to, manage our ads better so we don't lose all this money, and then eventually tracking profit, a bunch of stuff like that. And so Samurai Seller was built. I said, I need to solve a problem for myself, and I'm going to use my skills to do it. So we did the software. Now there's also a bunch of people buying Amazon brands, and a lot of these big companies are failing, right? Last year, a bunch of people were selling their companies, and then people are paying less for the companies now because the guys who bought it, they're crashing. They would buy a company and then the thing goes down and there's an explosion because people don't understand Amazon. So I go, that seems smart, because I could build Amazon from zero, because our team can do that, because we understand it. If I can buy a company at the same price another person buys a company, we buy it and we actually manage it well, that's humongous, because it cuts all of the time of building from zero. If someone has any sort of money, I recommend the best way to start Amazon is buy a company that's in a range where you can buy it, right? $50,000, $100,000, $200,000, $300,000, whatever. Try to build something up and do that. Well, probably start wholesale first. Like, probably just learn the interface, learn a little bit, read to arbitrage, buy some stuff at, Ross or whatever, Target on discount, and then sell out on Amazon. You can do that stuff to learn it. I did that and failed miserably. I would never do, I was terrible at that, but at least they helped me understand things a little bit better. And then once you do that well, then you want to go in. If you can buy a company, that is the best way because it has a brand, it has something, it has profit. You're buying profit, and then your game is to make sure that doesn't go down. That's one of the best ways to start right now. Of course, starting from zero is great too. A lot of people are still doing that. It's fantastic. But if you have the wherewithal, buying a company is great. So I can buy companies. That's like now a side hustle. We formed a company. We're buying, and again, if you're interested in selling, you can find me at LinkedIn, Aaron Cordovez. I'm very open. Actually, we've one of our deals came from LinkedIn, right? Like, hey, you know, whatever. And it's awesome. We'll talk and we'll manage that brand and we'll make that thing grow because we know how to do it. So right now, side hustles, I think it's a brilliant thing. And generally you want to keep your businesses in a similar field. You know, if you're a doctor, well, launch something around what you do, right? I know I just met with this super awesome guy out in Scotland, and his wife learned to do crocheting, the crochet stuff. And then she's like, oh, let me teach you how to do crochet. And then the thing's been blowing up. Like crochet is like awesome. Like you have a hobby, like, well, teach people how to do that, then build the products, sell them on Amazon. Like, what do you love? You know, if you love video games, dude, make a keyboard, make a freaking mouse. That's awesome. I don't know, do something. Oh, another person. There's so many people. I met so many amazing people in this field. Like, it's so cool because you reach your customer directly without red tape. I hate retail sales because you have a gatekeeper and they say, we will not take your product at Walmart because we don't the customer's going to buy. Well, then you're stuck. And your fate is decided by one person. On Amazon, you could just pay $1.50 and you'll get ad in front of somebody searching for your product. So you have a chance more than ever. So many people find ways to make this thing work. So instead of saying it's too late, it's too hard, I can't do it, say, how can I do it? With the scenario, how it is, the competition, how it is, how can I get in? And if you ask yourself that question, your mind is so brilliant and so smart. If you ask yourself something, you tell yourself something, you will make it true or you'll find the answer. So instead of saying, I can, well, you won't do it. Change it to, how can I succeed at Amazon? And if you keep looking for the answer of that question, you will find it if you don't give up and you keep going.
That is awesome advice for sure. I think that what you mentioned earlier about Amazon, you can be in front of any customer almost immediately, is this awesome demo. Like, a lot of people like to hate on Amazon, particularly on the seller side, because they don't offer good support. And that's a valid complaint. But Amazon has also democratized selling online. I mean, like, literally, I can sell this t-shirt on Amazon in the next 10 minutes at whatever price I want and pay for some ads and be in front of millions of people. Like, it's an awesome opportunity that remains. And it makes sense when you see so many people looking in to come in and acquire these Amazon brands, particularly the aggregators, because there's just so much opportunity for scale and growth there, particularly if you have people like your friend in Scotland who's big into crochet that are passionate about their products and make these awesome products for their niches. Like, it's just an awesome win-win for the consumer, the seller, and Amazon. Have you seen, I know we were talking a little bit about Zulai, like, and obviously how things have kind of changed. I'm pivoting a little bit here, but we've talked a little bit about how you need to think about things to succeed, right? And the value of work culture in today's world, et cetera. If you kind of had to start Zulai over in this culture, in this world, would you still go and start an Amazon business? Would you do something different? And it's okay if it's not Amazon. I'm just kind of curious, like, what would you do today?
Today, I would absolutely do Amazon. I mean, we actually just had a meeting, this new products, and we're a whole new brand and a new account that we're thinking of launching. And there's so much opportunity. Of course, would I have paid for the course and started today? I don't know. I don't know like if I didn't do Amazon in 2015 when we started, I don't know if we would have. What would I be doing now? I'd probably be making, some amount of money in programming and this, and someone sold me a course. Would I have believed in it? I don't know, because so many things happen at a moment, right? You have to, at one point, say, I'm going to give it a shot. And would I have done that now? Of course, if I knew what I know now, I would do it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But at that time, it was more of a frenzy of like, this person's selling on Amazon. It was kind of a like, I don't know if I don't feel that today. I feel like right now there's a lot of like talk about this Amazon drop shipping, which is some of the worst business. Oh, it's so bad. This like drop shipping stuff, Walmart drop shipping. It's honestly as close to a scam as like I know. And maybe 5% of the people buying this thing will make money, and then the rest of them will lose a lot of money. So it's the fad now is not as strong. Maybe again, or maybe I'm living in it, so I don't see it.
Yeah.
But at the time, it seemed like the opportunity was so ripe and so strong. And these guys did a good job. Amazing Selling Machine. I love these guys, right? Mike McClary, Clark, like they do a great job in Amazing Selling Machine. Yep. And the course is good, you know? And some people are like, is it worth $5,000? Like, listen, I think they have a stat. You know, I love to talk and tell people these things because I'm like, give it a shot. Their stat is something, and I don't know if it's even public info, so I'm gonna do a very rough estimate, different than what they said, but something like, say, 60% of people buy the course. Again, this is a course, $5,000 course, never launch a product. 60%. So likelihood you buy this course, there's a high chance that you never will even launch a product. Mm-hmm. You would think that's terrible. Oh my gosh, horrible. These guys are horrible. Well, more than 60% of people that get a college degree that costs 100 times more never work in that field. So which one's worse, right? Like, which one's worse? Okay, fine. But out of the people that launch a product, some amount of that become multi-millionaires, right? Sell their company for $100 million, $50 million, $20 million. Like, it is not unreal to make a company right now and sell it for over $1 million in 24 months, right? Like, people do that frequently, right? And for 300,000, 400,000, companies sell like that all the time. So you can say, okay, if I did this course, you also, more than even the content of the course, you're committing and you're saying, I'm all in on this. And some percentage of people who go all in will learn it, become a pro, and make a ton of money. And so your success rate, maybe it's not high, but if you're the person that's going to blame it on the person selling the course, then you're not going to make it. If you blame it on yourself, say, wow, what did I not do from this course? What did I not learn? What about my product was not appealing? And if you ask yourself questions, again, you ask yourself a question, you'll get the answer. If you ask yourself, how did I believe that these guys would do that and not really they were a scam? If you ask yourself that question, then you're gonna say, well, yeah, I fell for that, and I should not trust people, and I was naive, and I should just be more hating on people and think we're getting taken advantage of. And don't do that. Instead, ask yourself a question: what can I do differently to succeed? I saw a post, I think yesterday, a grandmother making $1.5 million on Amazon. Grandmother, and it's old lady. She's like, she had a terrible divorce at like 74 years old, has no money, is broke, and started Amazon. Now she has $1.5 million business.
Wow.
I'm like, come on. Ask yourself a question. If she can do it, can I do it? Okay, what can I do to be at least as successful as his grandmother? Right?
Yeah.
And if you ask yourself that and you figure it out, you will succeed. And if you go the other way, then you probably won't succeed. I do know 2 grandmothers who have succeeded on Amazon and sold their companies, or at least one sold their company. The other one, I haven't checked on her in quite a bit. But I've met
you better. She might be getting old.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'll check out, see how she's doing. Yeah. But yeah, I don't. These success stories happen all the time because there's a person who's gonna do the work, do those things. The advantage is that we have an ability to interface with the customer with very little effort, and that's it. That's why, like, look, a person can sell Girl Scout cookies. Your dog at 7 years old, 9 years old, whatever the age is that they do Girl Scout cookies, can go contact someone and sell a Girl Scout cookie. Okay, cool. Well, you have that personal contact. But now imagine you figure out that image in the thing, and you can have that personal contact digitally. Yeah, $1.50 per conversation, and you're expecting $5 a piece, and you sell half of them. Anyway, sometimes I go in math, but the point is, you're spending $3, you're getting a sale that makes you $5, and you figure it out, and then you just Amazon, hey, I want to do this once per day, and you just made whatever, $300 a day or $200 a day. That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome. That's amazing. So it's selling one person, and then you just multiply it in the computer. It's kind of crazy.
That's the power of leverage. I mean, basically, Amazon is the Girl Scout organization. Like, grab a product, get out there, and you've already got a bunch of people waiting to buy and ready to buy. You've just got to bring the product to them. And kind of like what you said, like if I wrote a book, I think I would call it The Power of Leverage. Because with the digital world, you can see how leverage works so well nowadays. Whereas before, like you'd have to knock on somebody's door, like, excuse me, sir, do you want to buy my Girl Scout cookies? Now you can put it on Amazon and knock on 1,000 doors in a day. It's crazy.
Yep. And knocking on doors, by the way, still works too.
Yeah, like nothing against knocking on doors.
Knocking on doors. I know somebody who's making, I actually know two people making multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars per month knocking on doors.
That's crazy. What are they selling?
And then one other person, which I don't know how much, but probably like 50,000 per month. Like that's take home. Okay.
Yeah.
Like knocking on doors, selling. I don't want to get into it because sometimes you'll say this and they'll be like, "Hey man, what'd you say?" Because now I have a competition. I won't say the exact.
Okay.
Knocking on doors. There's opportunity.
Can you give me broad strokes? Like, is it a physical product? Are they selling like, I don't know. I don't want to give them away too hard.
That's all I can tell you.
Okay. All right. Go knock on some doors.
But look, there's people sell educational booklets. They sell knives. They sell all sorts of stuff door to door.
Yeah.
I was reading a book. I just was reading a book, and then the guy was talking about door to door vacuum sales.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, what? I've never seen somebody selling a vacuum door to door. I think it's probably not so like that was probably back in the day. That's way before Amazon, right?
Yeah.
Electrolux, I think, was the brand, and the guy was selling how this dad made like a ton of money selling vacuums. And I'm like, man, I don't think that'll work today, right? But who knows, dude? I don't know. If you got like an extra plus something crazy, I probably wouldn't do that now. And I think that model for that thing has disappeared. Yeah. But there's always different things that you could do, right?
Well, it's like you said, you just ask yourself, how can I make $100,000 selling door to door? Well, maybe I just have to sell a really expensive product 10 times. Yeah.
Or a subscription, or find a person who's doing, whatever, or find a product where the person just has to sign. And then anyway, fine. I'm not going to get into it. Anyway.
Yeah. We don't have to give away this guy's industry. He's going to call you and be like, what the fuck? Right? Yeah. So what's next? I mean, you've told me a little bit about what's next for you. And I know you talked a little bit about your side hustles. Like what gets you excited to wake up and, the next day? I think that externally people look at people that have really succeeded well, like you have, or like Elon Musk, and they're like, why do they keep working? Why do they keep driving? And I think, well, that's the beauty of it, right? Like that drive and that ambition is what got them there. It doesn't disappear once you have $100 million or whatever that number is. Like it's still driving you. So what drives you? What keeps you going now? Where you're like, I want to hit this goal. I want to hit this metric.
There's a lot of things, man, that I like, that I want. I always write down my goals, right? And I'm like, where do I want to go? And of course, your goals have to be so much that you can't just achieve it today. If your goal is like, I want to sleep 8 hours, like you're done with your goal tonight, and then like
done, nailed it.
Yeah, correct. Like it generally when I'm writing, I'm like, this is something that I'm going to achieve over the next 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. Maybe I'll achieve it in a year or 6 months or something like that. But goal is it gives you a direction. An important thing in life is, where are you going? And if you don't know where you're going, then it's hard to do anything, right? And it applies to everything, right? And I remember at one point, one of my goals was to start this programming school, because this guy, I got into programming because of someone, had the guts, right, to make a programming school with this contrarian opinion. Forget college, forget the stuff, do this programming school. We're going to get you a job. And that was huge for me. And that allowed me to support my family when I had, my first child. And like, wow, like it allowed me to bring on this position of like, I am the provider and I'm going to be a professional at this stuff. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, I'm going to do that for other people. I want to show people how to be the provider. I'm going to show people how to give back more to society than they are getting. Right. And that's like such a strong concept. Mm-hmm. But that changed because Amazon just took off so hard. But then I'm like, well, I want to show people then how to do Amazon, right? Either way, I want to help people do their job more, because what happens is a lot of issues happen when people are in just deep struggles, right? And deep struggles generally happen from lack of knowledge and lack of understanding of what is the problem, right? What is the actual issue? If your issue, and again, what you say or what you question, you're going to find that answer. If your issue is, I was born with these problems, so I have no chance, and you tell yourself that, well, that's not helpful. So the actual struggle or the actual cage or problem that you're having is not that, hey, you were born a paraplegic, right? It was the fact that is what your attention and focus is on. So if your focus becomes, how can I achieve my potential? How can I succeed either in spite of this or due to this, right? and you use that. So the information and false information is mostly what's affecting people in all parts. The rich, middle class, poor, ultra poor, in all these cases, if they have a certain understanding and they have to get rid of false ideas and get good ideas. So I go, that's why I'm on this podcast, because if somebody could learn some information and become better, that's happy for me. Personally, for me and my family, we're set right now in terms of money, our needs, but we're not set on my kids. What is their education going to be like? How can I set an example for them? How do I learn how to communicate better to them and they understand? How do I get them to do something they're going to be proud of and they're going to contribute and not be the, rich person, spoiled whatever person? And you don't have to be rich to spoil your children. I know my gardener, he says, I work hard so my kids don't have to work. And it breaks my heart, because you see these kids who never worked in their whole life. And even though it's not a rich family and they have not too much, they have this disadvantage, right? Because they're not learning a skill that makes them more valuable as a person, and work ethic and things that you're supposed to be learning at that age. And I that's a similar issue that I had. And it that desire to help is so strong. You're like, I don't want them to work and suffer like I suffered. It's so benevolent and so like saint-like, right? It's so amazing. But sometimes that result is not the result you originally wanted. So one thing that gets me excited is just showing people and just talking. And like, I started writing a book outline just on the plane on the way here. Like, okay, I want to show people like success is possible. What is success? What are some ideas you need to shed to go up? Because my family is taken care of in terms financially, but the work is like, you don't just stop, because what's the purpose, right? It's not just my kids, it's about the neighbors and about the people and about, listen, if you don't take care of people you don't know, that's going to come back to you someday. You don't think your kids are going to be in this society and be around whatever in the bars or the clubs or the colleges or the whatever, this world, we're in it. And we have to take care of more than just us, right? I wanted originally to have 1,000 employees in Venezuela. In Venezuela, the minimum wage is $2.43 per month. Wow. $2.40 per month. Okay. I'm like, how can I hire 1,000 people? And I've only been able to get like 8 or 9, because it's hard to, how can I get someone who doesn't have a knowledge and then train them and make sure I help them do a job that's going to make me enough money to pay them and still make money. And if I can achieve that, that's amazing. So I would love to do that. It's hard. I don't know the answer yet. I don't know how to do that, but I want to hire more people. I want to give people higher paying jobs, but how do they get a higher paying job? By them learning enough to deliver something special out. And if everybody does that, that's how people win. Everybody has amazing products they love. Everybody has, I don't know, a clean house. Everybody gets massages. Like people are interchanging with each other because each person has something valuable, right? If you have 5 people in a room, you could say, well, there's a rich person. There's, he has all the money. If you have all the money, all you can do is get services or products from the other 4. So the actual way to increase your standard of life is everybody becomes specialized. If this person is a massage therapist person, everybody can get massages. Great. And then they can eat. Like, you have to have everybody contributing more for your own life to get better. And so projects, I know maybe you were asking about a specific next project, but I'm continuing with these, the businesses that I have. And ultimately, I want to have, the book and more podcasts and more information, hopefully help 1 or 2 people or more people contribute more and have more prosperity, but getting prosperity through contributing more, not through stealing, right?
So it sounds like your next step really is, hey, how can I help everybody do what I did and learn what I learned and have the impact on society that I've had and I'm still continuing to have. And the current medium you're working on that is this book. Do you have kind of a plan of, hey, this book's going to come out next year? Or is it still like,
no, it's like it's just started, but I have one of my philosophies that I follow is, never to have a maybe. You have to, no maybes. Don't have maybes in your life. If you listen to this whole thing and you learn nothing in the last, 50 minutes that we've been on this, do this one thing. Any maybes you have in your life, find the maybes and change it into a yes or a no. Oh, I'm going to start Amazon. No, either do Amazon or get away and do your next thing. All right. Oh, I'm going to do, whatever. No maybes. Cut out the maybes. So right now, I'm not gonna maybe whether I'm not gonna write a book or when do I write this. I'm writing it. I'm doing it. So it'll come out. It's just started. It's very infancy, but I'm gonna do it. It's gonna be done. I will have a book done and written. And I have had a maybe on this, and I'm like, no, that's it. I have no more maybes. It's coming out. Cutting out the maybes, and your life just improves when you do that. Maybes are terrible.
I think maybe it's just a really difficult place to live in because you're always like, yeah, no. I mean, I don't know. Emotionally, it just stresses me out. Whereas it's like, if it's a definite no or a definite yes, it just feels better because you're like, all right, a decision's been made and I can move on with either one. And it's like, I have the man in the arena quote from Theodore Roosevelt on my wall. And I think that's all about not being a maybe, right? Like it's all about like the credit lies. Okay. It's a long one. I can trim it down, but let me read it to you just friend to friend. It's a good one. He says, it is not the critic who counts. It's not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best in the end knows the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat.
Wow. Amazing.
Right?
That's like, brilliant.
It's like the do or don't do, you know?
That's right.
Yeah, shit or get off the pot.
If you're doing it, you go all in. If you're doing it, you go all in. You're gonna have blood, you're gonna have tears, you're gonna have sweat, you're gonna have pain. But here's the deal, you're in the game. Could you imagine playing in a soccer game and not knowing if you're on the blue team or the red team?
Yeah.
What are you doing? You're like, oh, you're not in any action. You're not in any, what are you going to do? I don't know. You're going to walk off the field. Like confusion. Mm-hmm. So you need to pick. And when you have it, then you go full on, right? And that's, it's beautiful. And exactly. Be a player, be someone who's putting your all in. Because that's when you have emotion. Life is not meant for just laying around and watching TV all day. Listen, TV's fun. Okay, it's great. It's awesome. Cool. But like be involved in something that's going to make you feel something physically. Like you are in the game. And that's life, man. I mean, that's why we've been blessed with a life. Like, come on. Like, what the hell? Let's use it. So
get off the boob tube and live it, man.
Yeah.
Right, that's what you said it was called, the boob tube.
Yeah, the boob tube, that's right, the boob tube. Yeah. I learned that word from a Jack Johnson song. He was talking about it, and it's like boob, what's a boob tube? What's this guy talking about boobs? Like, what's going on? And then I'll check it out, and then I'm like, oh, because boob is UK for like a stupid person, and then the TV. So listen, I'll have my share of like some binge, or like, I don't know, Stranger Things came out and we saw like all Stranger Things and whatever. Yeah, look, it's not, I'm not saying I don't watch TV, but the point is, like, it should be a small part of your life, because could you know how much stuff there is in the world, man? Like, there's 500 billion moving through Amazon. That's cool. You know how much niches and products that is? There's like services, real estate, I don't know, music, books, like parties, get-togethers, social, amazing people in this world, like so much stuff. So like, be interested and just and be okay with like being a little different, right? Like, hey, I want to go do some weird thing like crochet. Like, you know how many people are like, crocheting, like that's so lame. That's like my grandmother. Like, you can get criticized and be like, no, I'm never gonna do crochet because it's not manly. I don't know. My brother-in-law does crochet. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna be like, hey, crochet you need to be a man. I'm like, dude, do whatever makes you happy, dude. If it's walking around in a freaking unicorn costume and like asking people questions on TikTok and you have fun, dude, go do it. And stop listening to people telling you that you should do something else. Do whatever. Like, follow a road that you're going to be happy with your own life. It's your life, dude. Like, take advantage. Like, forget what people say,
Yeah. Go live it.
You know how many people told me that I should have gone to college and this, and I had a plan. And I feel like I can do stories all the day, but I just told my mom, she told me, no, you can't, you have to go to college, period. No matter what, whatever you're going to do, you need to go to college. And I planned, I'm like, I had just gone to an event about like drug education stuff. And they were talking about how like 50% of people get into like illegal drugs in college, right? And like deep. And I'm like, I just told my mom, listen, I can go to college, but here's a chance. But instead, I'm gonna go work on this that I know is gonna help people. What was this whole conversation? I know I kind of botched it because I was trying to do it in 30 seconds, but
All right.
The point is you have to have a plan. If you're going to talk to somebody who is influencing your life in a big way, you need to know, if your wife, you're going to go talk to your wife, you're going to say, hey, I'm going to go do Amazon. I'm spending $5,000 on Amazon course. She's like, are you crazy? We can't do it. Well, have a plan. Say, hey, by the way, did you know this car that we did that we paid $5,000 extra? Talk about that first. And then be like, listen, I'm going to take a risk here, but there's like a 2% chance this makes us $1 million. And there's and have the conversation, because it's life. It's a live conversation, and have a plan, right? So you have to have a goal, to have a direction, not a maybe. And as you're going in that way, predict what is that next barrier, what's the next problem, and plan for it. And if you do, you probably will find an answer, right? We're very smart. We have an ability mentally, spiritually, to do great things. And if we ask ourselves and give ourselves the problem of what we want to go to, you have a very high chance of succeeding. That's
awesome. Thanks for sharing, Aaron. I mean, this was we touched on so many awesome topics. There was so much value dropped in this conversation. I'm going to go ahead and share all the ways to reach out to you. Aaron Cordovez, LinkedIn.com. Get in there, follow. I know you post awesome stuff every day. You're on my follow and notification list. Samurai Seller, awesome software for checking your profit. You built it because there's a need, has great use, and you're buying companies now. And potentially going to be launching a book and having investors. So people should just follow you just to see what you're doing and what you're going to shake up in the world next. Thanks for coming on, Aaron. This was really, really awesome. I really appreciate it.
Awesome, Josh. Thanks so much for having me.